apologize. I did not have my mic. All right, this is Henry Kramer, 605 Chaser. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. We're coming live from the studio. We're going to go through a lot of details here. And what we're seeing is an enhanced risk, but we'll get to that. Right now, I want to first go ahead and look at our live radar so that we can let folks know what's going on. So this is the high resolution radar based on the Aberdeen. There are some storms that are starting to fire up already in north central part of South Dakota. We do have these moving pretty slowly at this point in time, only about 30 miles an hour, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and take. There is no severe thunderstorm warnings as of yet. Let's double check that. My son has a tendency to shut certain things off, so I want to make sure that all of the alerts are on and so forth. All right, all that information is there for storm reports. And making sure these are all on. Yes, they are. Perfect. All right, so there are no severe thunderstorm warnings at this time. However, we do expect some further development to happen later today. There are some concerns over capping the atmosphere. So that's the atmosphere. If it gets capped, obviously, you've heard me say it time and time again, it is difficult for those storms to build. But with the enhanced risk over here, this is the enhanced risk. As you can see, that is a large swath area, all the way up to Watertown and all the way down into near Bloomfield. I guess that would be Indiana. I'm getting my my states all mixed up. So that's the enhanced area, and even as far down south Omaha. So we do have a large area, and then we have this slight risk in that area, shaded lighter yellow, and we do have the marginal risk, and then of course general thunderstorms are expected here. So this would make sense that this is going to trek off to its northeast. It will likely start impacting areas in North Dakota within the next couple of hours if it can hold its thing together. And it does look like it's actually taking a turn towards more of an easterly direction. If that happens, it will go into pretty enriched environment, and you might want to watch out Aberdeen, as things could get pretty rough by 11 o'clock. We'll have to take a look at the HRRR weather model. It's going through an update right now, so we'll take a look at that after a moment here. But this is what we do have throughout the regions. Plenty of upper 70s down in Valentine, as well as North Platte's already at 81 degrees, 56 degree dew point. As you can see, there's quite a contrast here. We have 70 degree dew point in Broken Bow, Nebraska, and 56 North Platte. So there's quite a significant difference there. We are showing you this information because you can see where the drier air is out in the western part of Nebraska. 44 degree dew point. Oh, finally, maybe a little bit of relief with the temps, or not the temps, but at least the heat index. Maybe very short-lived, probably, though. We'll take a look at that a little bit further. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to look at my key points document here to see what I needed to go through. Let's go ahead and before we dive into the rabbit hole that is the Storm Prediction Center's outlook today, let's go ahead and take a look at what the 7-day forecast is looking like. We've got beautiful temperatures expected after today. Now, obviously, this is for just Sioux Falls, but the heat does return after today. Now, it's going to be hot today. Don't think that it's not going to be hot. It's just that those storms, obviously, once they come through, we'll have a short reprieve from those storms. And then we could actually end up, there is speculation that tomorrow, Thursday, there could be a small risk of just marginally severe lingering through in the Sioux Falls area. But I did not put that in there because, honestly, I think this is a very, very strong low pressure that is going to just barrel through, and that front is going to come through here much faster than maybe what they expect. As you can see, 64 degrees for overnight low tomorrow night, and very mild temperatures. And I say mild maybe milder at night, but then as we get through the towards the weekend, we get that heat and that moisture will come back. I hate to say it. What is happening currently right now? Let's go back. That's your 7-day forecast. Let's go ahead and take a look at the radar Omega's dense fog advisory we're showing here. We've got just another 22 minutes, so 9 o'clock that ends. That's Central Daylight Time. We'll take a quick peek over here in Sioux Falls radar. We have a few little blips just to the south of Wessington Springs. Nothing too concerning right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at your bigger risks. Key points that I want to point out. Strong to severe storms are possible with the greatest risk afternoon, evening west of I-29 and evening early overnight east of I-29. Large hail 2+ inches and wind gusts to 70 miles per hour are the main hazards. Although risk is low, a tornado cannot be ruled out. Again, capping is a concern. Let's take a look at the HRRR weather model. That should be completely fully out now so that we can take a look at the 8 a.m. update. Out far enough for us to see. So as you can see, it does show some of those storms non-severe at this point, trying to push through. 10 a.m., this is kind of what it's looking like. It pushes to the northeast up in Jamestown and Fargo. But then what we see around noontime is we do see this area of concern here. And that's a precursor to what is expected to happen in the northern part of South Dakota early afternoon. West of the James River Valley, probably the Highway 14 Huron area is probably going to be under the gun. This is around 1 p.m. This is radar estimates based on only one model, and there are multiple models. The only reason why I'm showing you this one is this is the one that has the latest update. The other ones were updated at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., and so it's very difficult to have a comparison because of the timing of the broadcast and all those things. So this is, I just want to give you that warning that this is just one model. It doesn't mean that this is definite. So this is showing the storms evolve after 1 p.m. And then we do have this area north of Highmore, based on this particular weather model, that would probably either be very strong rainfall rates or possibly some hail there. So areas of Highway 14 would need to be concerned. Be one moment here. I'm just going to check one other thing here. All right. So the other point that I want to make out is that we do have that tornado risk, and I'll show you where that is as well here shortly. As you can see, Highway 14, north of Highway 14 and right along Highway 14 in South Dakota is a concern. And then it treks over to a southeasterly direction. Now this ends up showing some storms trying to evolve down in Norfolk area as well, so we got to be mindful of that. But 5 p.m., Watertown's getting hit, Millbank, some just getting pounded, and that actually would be an area early on would be a very big concern for the risk of the wind in the north part of South Dakota. And then that wind risk becomes more prevalent as the later afternoon, evening comes. Again, that is just based on one model. I can't stress that enough. All right, and now as of between 5 and 6 p.m., it becomes more of a linear storm development. It develops a line of storms here, and what this particular thing is going to do is it's going to eventually start to bow out and push through, going off into that southeasterly direction, and that will follow this path. These storms to our south in Omaha area will likely push off into the easterly direction, and this one will push off to a more southeast direction. Let's go ahead and progress that along a little bit further here so that we can mosey on and get back to what we have for that. So Sioux Falls area, expect somewhere between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. to have storms starting to enter that area, and as it pushes off. Now this particular model does start to push things further east as it gets to Sioux Falls area, and southwest Minnesota would be more of a concern, as well as you can see this bowing effect here. Right here for the Twin Cities area, that would be a concern. And this one down here does show that it's pushing off to an easterly direction. Let's progress this a little bit further, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into what we're expecting as far as what could hinder things. And as you can see, Des Moines area gets numerous storms. This is really when it becomes a wind event, more so. When these storms first pop up, they could end up being. That's probably where the biggest risk would be for the tornado activity if they end up developing enough. And then it goes over into Rochester, Minnesota area and moves right along into the overnight hours. So let's take a look. There's a faster loop. I kind of went line by line, but there's the loop of that. Lots going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tornado risk for today. There is a 2% risk. Now, be mindful, 2%. I had somebody else tell me, oh, 2%, that's not that bad, right? No. 2%, while low, just because it says it's not the same as like, oh, it's a 50% chance or it's a 90% chance, 2%, there's different levels. So, 2%, you've got 5%, and you've got 10%. So 10% would be like numerous tornadoes, pretty much an outbreak. 5%, there's a heightened risk. So there's really categories I would put it as this. Out of the three categories that I just mentioned, 2%, 5%, and 10%, that just 1, 2, and 3. So 2% would be a low out of 3. It'd be a 1 out of 3, and then 5%, 2 out of 3, and level 3 out of 3 would be the 10%. So that's kind of where I wanted to explain that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the wind threat. As you can see, the tornado threat is pretty prevalent over much of eastern South Dakota. And the wind threat for today is showing a significant wind threat. Wow. Okay, so that is quite the swath of significant severe threat. And this is 30%. Let's read this. This was updated at 7:59, so not too long ago. Prominent summertime mid-level trough is readily apparent across the northern high plains early this morning and will reach the upper Midwest tonight. Ahead of this trough, scattered to occasionally strong, locally severe convection has occurred overnight across northern South Dakota into southern eastern North Dakota. This convection should further increase into midday, early afternoon, with a more appreciable severe risk evolving across north central, eastern South Dakota, and eventually into southwest Minnesota by mid or late afternoon. Some initial supercells capable of very large hail will be possible, but storm mergers with a very unstable environment by mid-late afternoon should lead to MCS development and heightened wind potential. So this is going to be a very, very dangerous situation if everything can evolve. Let's take a look at the hail factor. Goodness gracious, we have this black outlined area with the significant hail. So the hail, so more of a wind threat will be in Sioux Falls area. And then the hail threat here. So this area would be an area I would be more concerned of for the tornado activity. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that the vertical shear. So let's go ahead and now take a look at some of the other things that we need to look at for the models. We want to take a look at the surface-based SIN. We're talking about that a lot. So as you can see, by 7 p.m., let's go back here 1 second. Got to wait for that to update. All right, 8 a.m. You can see this is why there's development here. Because we do not have any capping that was able to break through. Okay, and then as you can see, the green area, that's where there's not a strong cap. It's less of a cap. And this is 11 a.m. You're going to be able to see things really develop and start to mature early afternoon. The cap dwindles away. And then it gets more prominent where there's no cap. Let me show you the numbers here. Okay, so pretty much no cap here. Plenty of ability for it to mature in any of these areas. And then over here, the cap is starting to go away. It's low cap here. Very strong cap here and extremely strong cap down here. So that's kind of give you an idea of that. And then we do have eventually by 3 p.m. the cap is pretty much gone. So as those storms up in north central South Dakota start to develop, that'll be moving on and pushing off to that east-southeast direction. Let's take a look now. As you can see, this is hard to identify that it's cap because these are the storms that are evolving. It's just how this particular model can bring this up. So this isn't necessarily cap. This is where that storm development is, and let me show you that here. So that's why. So the cap returns once these storms process through. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at significant tornado parameters. Again, this does not mean that there's going to be a tornado in this area. It just means that there's certain parameters that give it a more probable chance. If everything else is there, the environment would be more likely to produce a spin up or a tornado. There's two areas of concern here, so let me go ahead and put on the tornado risk so we can see where that's really for today. So, gosh, Highway 14, that Miller area, that's what this puts. So I would say this would probably be an area of concern by 2 p.m. And then we do have another area down O'Neill area, I believe it was. Yeah. Those would be the only areas that I'd be concerned about, although one right here possibly, but that's very low. Let's go ahead and push that along. Tornado risk gets a little bit more spotty, but 4 p.m. 4 p.m. shows definitely possibility here along Highway 81, somewhere along there. Could have a drop here south of Vermilion area around 6 p.m. Again, this is just one weather model, so it does not mean that it's definite. And then as you can see, of course, this ends up the wind event. It's not necessarily going to be tornado activity, but picking up the large winds. And then as the night progresses for eastern and South Dakota, less likely of tornadic activity. But yes, early evening is what they're looking at. Let's quick take a peek at this storm that is over by west of Aberdeen area. That does have some hail in there. It does look like it's possibly going to go severe, warned. 8:37 a.m., so about 10 minutes ago or so. Northeast at 25 miles per hour, wind gusts of 50 to 55 miles per hour, and nickel-size hail. So just below the severe level. Once it hits 58 miles per hour or higher, then that's when it becomes a warning versus a special weather statement. All right, so temperatures around the area continue to be in the low to mid 70s, and dew points are definitely there as well. Let me take a look and see what else I need to hit here for points. We looked at the HRRR weather model. Let's go ahead and take a look at our tropics while we wait for another scan here. All right, so these are way down here, but I do want to point out the reason why this is going to stay out in the ocean. So even though the chance is high, it's going to stay out in the ocean, not going to hit any landfall, not a concern. This is where there is a concern. This is 60% chance in the next 7 days for tropical development, and that would include Bahamas, and of course Florida could really get hit. Let's take a look at a tropical model here. Whoops. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Nothing really showing right now, but environment is definitely there. If we turn on some of the buoys, we probably can take a look at that. So 85 degrees, certainly plenty there. 78-degree dew point, lots of moisture to work with. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in the tropics. Do want to get back to our other key points here. Let's take a look just for comparison purposes. Let's go ahead and take a look at... One second here. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with my chat, so I just need to see what exactly that is. Seems like every single time I do a chat, I have the chat box is difficult to bring up. And I definitely want to be able to get to your guys' information. Nope, not anything there. All right, so let's take a quick peek here at the other weather models. We'll take a look for comparison purposes. We're going to take a look at the NAM 3K and see what that is showing. Again, this was updated at 2 a.m., so this is not as updated as HRRR, but again, for comparison purposes, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Zoom into our area of concern. So that does put things, so this puts development a little bit slower and takes more of a northerly track, and by the time it goes through the Watertown area, let's zoom in if we can, get this target off of there. Certainly showing a lot of development there. This is one particular model. And as we go through the loop a little fast there, but as you can see, that does show a wind event there as well. And then if we take a look at the NAM 12K, that's just another weather model. It's going to be less of an intense. That was updated at 8 a.m. So we can compare models, thank goodness. All right, then the dense fog advisory got canceled. However, it still does continue down in south of Vermilion area. Does a difficult job picking up on the intensity. Around 7 p.m. is what this is pushing it as. And then this... Hang on one second, folks. Hey, honey, I'm live. Sorry, I can talk for a second.
Oh, I was just going to say, keep me updated, because if it gets real bad, not leaving the boys home by themselves, and I'll just leave a little early.
Okay, I'll keep you updated as best as I can. It doesn't look like things are going to happen in the Sioux Falls area until sometime after 5, but as you know, all that can change.
I'm scheduled till 7, so...
Right. All right. I'll let you know.
All right.
Love you. Bye. All right, folks. I just wanted to let my wife wanted to call me and let me know. Doing things on live here. So we have 7 p.m. on this NAM 12K is showing storms, storm development north of Highway 14 as well. And then we'll take a look at GFS, because GFS, oh, they must have continued it. Ah, they did continue that. So it looks like that fog is still there. They reissued the dense fog advisory for these areas. So that tells me It's going to be a muggy day, definitely. All right, so this was the GFS model update at 4 a.m. And we'll just kind of truck through here. This does 3-hour increments, so it's going to be a little tough to see hour by hour loop. But again, this does show, GFS shows storms 7 p.m. Up in north central part of South Dakota and even over to northwest Iowa. So the GFS doesn't pick up on the storm development that's expected in more of the southeast corner. The HRRR does. Let's go back to our special radars here and take a look at Aberdeen again, because we are now seeing another special weather statement. This would be 50 to 55 mile an hour, and movement is east at 35 miles an hour. Remember earlier I said, hey, it looks like it's more of an easterly direction? Yep, this is going to continue to trek off to the east then. So it looks as the cell, it looks like it's going northeast, but in actuality it's starting to turn, and then that will end up being that development. Let's take a look at a few things here for surface analysis, and let's see what time that was updated here, just to make sure we're not giving you outdated information. That was updated at 4 a.m. So as of 4 a.m. we had this trough here, and that was what was sparking the development. And then on the back side now, this is starting to push through that front. Let's take a look over here. As you can see, much drier air, 50-degree dew points, 47. This is probably not accurate because it's definitely not 32 degrees. Gotta love it. And then 57-degree dew point. So right along here would be where that front is setting up in western South Dakota. So it's already pushing through western half, and it's just really setting things up. So now we're just going to have to wait for additional trough to come through. And once that does, we will certainly have things sparking. All right, folks, I'm going to get ready for work. I appreciate y'all joining. Stay safe. God bless. I think I touched on all points that I needed to. In case somebody goes to the last part of this, let's go ahead and just do a quick analysis again. We have enhanced risk here. We do have the slight risk here. And the tornado risk, of course, is much larger area. And that's where we've got the tornado risk, all of this. We'll have to see how this evolves. We'll take a look quick at the convective allowing HRRR real quick. As you can see, that development around 4 p.m. Let me move that slight risk out of the way. So it does look like sometime after 1 p.m. is what this is pushing it as. So those storms are starting to develop much earlier, a few hours earlier than what is expected based on this HRRR. So hold on to your hats, folks. It's definitely going to be interesting. So and then by the time it hits Sioux Falls, it does look like it's somewhere after 5 p.m. is what I'm going to say, because I believe that this is having a difficult time pushing it farther south than what actually is happening here. So, and then once it gets to this point, right here, look at that curvature, right here. Do a shot on that. All right, so I'm going to let you all go. You stay safe. God bless. And I appreciate you joining, whether it's live or